I'm a first time home seller and now I want to know, how do I price my home? How do I pay realtor commissions and what do I get? I mean, how much money do I get? We're going to learn all of that and more on today's video. I'm here with an outstanding Twin Cities realtor, Travis Anderson, and we're going to walk through all of that. Hey, if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below, and let's get right into it. Travis, I want to sell my home, and I saw online that my house is worth $562,352. How accurate is that?
The truth is, Peter, sometimes they're accurate and sometimes they're off dramatically. So I definitely wouldn't put any weight on that estimate that you might get from Zillow or Trulia or realtor.com. Even your tax records, I would not put any stock in that price. It's a good barometer. I use it as far as, because I know my clients are looking at it. So I do take a look at those things, but it's definitely not how I would price a home for sale.
Imagine that. I can't trust everything that I see online. Well, okay, so if that's not the way to determine value, tell me a little bit. How do you price my house?
Yeah, we do a three-step process. And let's assume for a second that we look it up on Zillow as sort of like a first step. Then maybe we would do like a four-step process. So the first thing we do is we look at the market area and we try to get an idea of the averages. And then I want to have a good understanding about how does your home compare to what an average buyer might expect in your market. So I'll give you an example. We're going to be really broad here. The average home in the Twin Cities is 424,000 today. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home built in 1990. So I know that information to be true. And so if ever I'm in the Twin Cities and I'm looking at a home that's like a 4-bed, 3-bath home built in like 1990, it's like, oh, is this going to be around 425,000? So that kind of gives me that barometer in the whole Twin Cities. So when we're looking at your home specifically, we narrow that into maybe your city, or maybe we're within 5 miles or 10 miles of you. And we try to get an idea of what an average buyer would expect for the average home in your market. And then we compare your house to that data point.
So for determining value, tell me a little bit about comparable sales. What is it that
Yeah,
you look for?
yeah, perfect. And that's really our second step, which would be going into a more comparable market analysis. You could also hire an appraiser. We do something really similar to an appraisal. We do not have an appraiser's license, but it's a very similar process. And that's where we look at comparable home sales. So now we know what the buyer's expectations in your market might be. That gives us a value point. And then we look at what's the style of your home, what's the era of your home, what's the footprint of your home, and then what amenities do you have relative to other homes that have sold in the neighborhood or within a few miles of you. That would be what we would consider comparable, similar style, era, condition, etc. And that's going to give us another price range. And we're really looking to see if we can find like 10 of those homes. So 10 homes that have sold similar to yours. Sometimes you only find 3. If it's a townhome, we might find 30. But we really try to find around 10 homes that are really similar to yours that have sold and closed in the last 6 months or 12 months that we would deem comparable to yours.
How relevant is it that, I just painted the ceiling in my living room? I mean, that's got to add value.
So yeah, Peter, most people will expect to have a ceiling painted in a family room. And so that probably doesn't add much value. Really, we're talking about how does your home compare then to homes that are currently available for sale, which is sort of what you're getting to, which would be that third step. So again, the first step would be sort of an algorithmic average. The second step would be comparable homes that have sold. And then the third step would be what you're describing. How do you now compare your home to what's available on the market? So maybe you've got a remodeled kitchen, remodeled bathrooms, new flooring, etc. And other homes that are on the market just don't have those things. So you could probably price your home higher. Let's say that, I mean, I'm just dealing with this with one of my listings coming up. Uh, they had about a month to prepare their home for sale. And they asked me, should I replace my appliances? I said, let's do this. Let's set up a search so you can see what homes are selling for in your price range. And take a look at the appliances specifically over the next month. And if you see that every home that you're looking at, or the majority of homes that we're looking at as we go to prepare a home for sale, have new appliances, well, then maybe we should have new appliances, because then a buyer in your price range is expecting new appliances because everybody has them. And so that's exactly what we did. It come to turn out, which I did not know that this was going to happen, but in their price range, in their market, all of the homes have new appliances, or fairly new appliances. So my clients bit the bullet and spent a few grand on appliances.
One thing I think probably fits into everything that you're talking about with pricing the home is I keep on hearing you saying from what a buyer would expect to pay. I'm go into this thinking in terms of what I'm expecting to sell it for. The reality, though, is the value is what a buyer is expecting to pay, right?
Yeah, Peter, think of it this way, because we're all consumers, right? If you were in the market to buy anything of decent value, let's say it's a car, and you know what you want, you know the brand you want, you know that you want leather seats, etc. The next thing you do is you look for the best priced car within those criteria. So again, maybe it's leather car under 30,000 miles, a 2022 Toyota or something. You're not just going to go look at the first Toyota and buy it. You're going to look at the Toyota, and then you're going to compare it to any other Toyota that you could buy of similar condition and amenities that you're looking for. That's what a buyer does. So it's irrelevant what the dealership is asking. They could ask whatever they want, right? But let's say a home, or let's say a car, they're asking 35,000, but you literally could buy the exact same one right down the street for 30,000. You're just going to go down the street and buy that one for 30,000. So that's the same way that it works in real estate.
All right, so you've done all this work to come up with a value. You've shown it to me. We've come to an agreement on the value of what we want to market it for. Can you just tell me how do realtors get paid?
Yeah, thanks for asking, because this is what people ask when I come to their house, Peter. They're like, what's my home worth and how do you get paid? So, really, today it's a sort of a two-step thing. It used to be, Peter, that we would charge maybe 6% or 7%. And it was never a standard. It was just an agreed upon number between seller and realtor. And then we as realtors would pay out to the buyer's agent some percentage that the seller also agreed to. Today, it's not like that at all. You and I would agree on a commission that I would charge for my company only. Okay. And so it's going to be less. It's going to be half of what it used to be, essentially. And then in the purchase agreement, a buyer is going to ask a seller to contribute to their buyer's agent's commission. Okay. So you're agreeing with me on my commission up front, and then you're agreeing to pay whatever the buyer's agent's commission is on the back end. The nice thing is in the purchase agreement, that's a negotiable item. I do like to estimate it up front so you can see maybe what we're experiencing in the market. Again, there isn't a standard, but we do see things often enough to where we can estimate that number for you. But it is a negotiable item at the time of purchase agreement.
But when I'm going to sell, I'm going to probably need to be prepared that I'm going to pay you X percent, and that I'm going to pay a buyer's agent Y percent. And if I negotiate that Y percent, it might be X plus Y minus Z.
Yeah, and I really think that's a great way to put it. I'm probably going to start telling my clients that. I really like this X plus Y minus Z conversation. It's a very accurate way to describe how it works. X will be the commission that you and I agree upon for me and my company at the time of listing. Y will be what the buyer's agent writes into the purchase agreement, and then Z would be what we try to negotiate from that. That's correct.
Okay, so now that we've got a price for the home, I know what I'm paying for commissions. How do I know what I'm going to get? How much money I'm going to get?
Yeah, at time of listing, when I'm with you at your home, I put together what's called an estimate of proceeds. I'm going to need just one thing from you, and that's your mortgage balance. So if you have a mortgage, I'd like to get an estimated balance. Does not have to be accurate, just as close as you can, your last mortgage statement or something. And then I'll go ahead and take what we hope the sales price is going to be based on our three-step process, and then you deciding on where we price the home as a seller. We subtract the mortgage, we subtract the commissions, there's some title charges and some taxes that we have. And then I'll just estimate at the bottom what you're going to get. in the event that we sell your home for what we predict. And then when a purchase agreement comes in, I update that spreadsheet so you can see the difference.
We've covered a lot in this video: how to price my home, how I'm going to pay realtor commissions, and what I'm going to walk away with. Those are really kind of critical elements. And Travis, I really want to thank you for going through all of this with me today. And if you folks have any kinds of questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to us either directly. Our information is in the comments below, or leave a comment below and we'll be sure to get right back to you.